Hi, it's Joel from Coaches Rising here, and this dialogue is part of our pre-summit series for the Coaches Rising Summit. You can find out more about that, and we've got an amazing lineup of transformational coaches taking part at www.coachesrisingsummit.com. In this dialogue, I'm speaking with Steve Chandler. He's a master coach and such a prolific writer. I think he's written over 30 books that have been translated into 25 different languages. And if you haven't checked them out yet, I highly recommend you do. In this interview, it's all about how to build a thriving coaching business. It's packed full of wisdom. But even more importantly, whenever I speak with Steve, I come away feeling inspired and motivated to go out and take action and to create from my highest potential. So enjoy. So great to be with you today, Steve. How's things with you?
Things are great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited to speak with you today. I've been an avid fan of your work for some time, and it's really had a huge impact on me as a coach. So yeah, I feel a little bit of that, intimidation, nervousness today, but excited to dive in with you. And of course, you're on the faculty of the upcoming Coaches Rising Summit, so I'm excited about that too.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I look forward to that.
Mm. There's a couple of things we're doing. I'm speaking to all the faculty in the summit, and we're exploring a couple of questions, and I want to ask the same questions to you today. And the first one I want to ask you is, was there a personal shift that you made at some point in your career as a coach that allowed you to become a really powerful, impactful coach?
Yes, I think there was. I think the major shift that I made was when I realized that it didn't matter how good a coach I was, if I wasn't good at selling my coaching, building my business, making money, becoming prosperous, it would always be a miserable thing. It would always be a struggle, and I would always look each month to where's the money coming from this month, and so it would almost be as if every morning I would wake up and have to start my business all over again. So that was what I was up against, because I was really bad at selling. I was really bad at enrolling clients and talking to people about money. So the shift happened when I really saw for myself that this is a problem that not only needs to be solved, but needs to be mastered, so that this becomes a strength and not just something that I'm okay at. It's the hard part. Maybe I can get by. So I found a coach. I really looked around the world and I found somebody, and I had that coach understand, this is what I want you for. This is what I want to learn. And you can coach me in anything you want that's in the way of my building a prosperous practice in life. But, excuse me, that's what I want to focus on.
Yeah.
And so when I did that, when I was honest enough with my coach to say, I need that help badly, and I want you to guide me and teach me how you do it, then everything changed. And it became the fun part. It became the part that I overlearned, and I just overdid it. And it became the part that was the most enjoyable part of my coaching practice.
I mean, because I know that place of survival where you've done all the training and you're not getting the clients in, and then that starts to get inside you, and it can really start to impact. I mean, I think it just shows, doesn't it, with potential clients. And
Yes. Yeah, in subtle ways it shows. You're not as relaxed, you're not as happy, you're not as confident. And so it shows, and it gets in the way of really enjoying the clients you do have.
I think because even that statement, enjoying building your coaching practice, enjoying enrolling clients, that might even just sound like a strange thing for a lot of coaches out there. Perhaps
Yes,
yeah, you could say a bit more about that. Yeah.
right. And you've identified it. That's the problem. If however my belief system is set up, that enjoying this thing, this practice of enrolling sounds strange, like how could anyone enjoy something like that? Um, that's the problem right there, is that you're seeing it in a way that doesn't allow for enjoyment, and it doesn't allow for having fun with it and having it be a game and having it be have some playful elements and really enjoy it and look forward to it, so that I look at my calendar and I see I have a coaching session, but then I see I have a conversation with a prospective client, and that lights me up. Oh, I enjoy those even more than coaching sessions sometimes.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, perhaps you're already starting to sort of share some of these ingredients of how we can, begin to more successfully enroll clients. What did you start to do that worked, basically?
Well, I started to change how I was communicating so that it didn't feel to me like I was selling, marketing, trying to make an impression, promoting myself, over promising. And I dropped all that out. And I began to change the focus so that I was able now to simply focus on the other person and have it be diagnostic. Like, tell me what's going on in your world,
Mm.
and I'll see if I can help you. And I don't know if I can help you, but let's just talk. And it was much less scary to do it that way. And I began to be able to connect with people. And if I woke up and I thought of my day as a day in which I'm serving and assisting and helping all day, that was a day I could look forward to. Because no longer was it a day of failed sales calls and discouragement and disappointment. It no longer had to be that. And that's the big turnaround that changed for me. And then I began to teach other coaches how to do that. Because if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Well, I can feel that straight away. It feels like such a relief, to be able to switch from that kind of I've got to do the selling part, I've got to build the business
Yeah.
to playing. And you mentioned the word, it can be like a game, and also this word serving. Like, I wonder if you could speak about that.
Yeah. So if I'm talking to you and you might be a potential client of mine, and I'm living in an inquiry, how can I contribute to your life? What would serve you? Maybe it would serve you right now just to listen to you. Maybe it would serve you if I shared a few things that I've been through that are similar to yours. But I keep asking what would serve you, what would help you. Because what I found out is if people get helped and served by being with you, they want to be with you more. They want to be with you again. But if they get sold by being with you, if they get manipulated, then they have to go think about it, and so many times you don't even hear from them again.
So does that mean that you may end up staying with somebody? You might meet with them more than once if you feel like, hey, I want to keep serving this person. Maybe if we've not hit that spot yet, you would maybe even say, hey, let's talk again, or yeah.
Sure, it's a greater willingness to do that. Now, I don't mean giving away lots of free coaching forever, but I do mean the more willingness you have. Let's say you have a prime prospect that you think would be a very good client for you. And you've got all these empty hours in your day where you don't know what to do, how to market yourself, how to get the word out, and that's not working for you. Why not spend one of those empty hours with that person? So you give them an extra hour so that you talk to them for an hour and say, why don't you and I talk again next week, and so that we can really get to the bottom of this and explore some of these ideas for you. So it is a matter of giving a little extra time, especially when you've made a connection and you want to really deepen that connection. So we find in the coaches that come to my school that if they're willing to experiment with this, they get clients a lot faster.
Mm, nice. And I've heard, yeah, you talked about serving versus pleasing, and I think that was something that I found so powerful, that distinction. And at the same time, it was hard, to not try to please, or to try to even to try to come from that place of I want you as a client,
Yeah.
and to truly serve and be able to say the things that were perhaps a little bit scary to say, but maybe they needed to hear that, in the past I might have not said because I kind of want you to like me and to become a
Yes.
client.
Yeah. Yeah. You've got it exactly. Because what happens is we're in society, we're conditioned
Mm.
to be pleasing and to not be offensive and to make it really easy for people to talk to us. The problem is when a coach does that, the other person thinks, boy, Joel is really fun to talk to. I really enjoy him. What a nice guy. But but why would I pay money just to chat with him? What that doesn't make sense for me financially. Just because I enjoy chatting with him, now I'm going to pay him $30,000 to work with him over time. I can't connect the dots.
Mm.
So the less social you are, the more professional you are when you're talking to people, the more they can experience what it'd be like to work with you. And that's the important thing. You want to sell the experience and not the concept of coaching.
That's a I want to come back to that point, but I think this thing about being, you said like being professional rather than social, that how can we practice that? You could say a bit more on how we can, because I think this is such a powerful edge for coaches, especially people who are trying to build their business.
Yeah, because what happens is coaches, when they're starting out, they're social. They're fawning all over. I know you're busy. And I'm only a coach and you have a business, so you're superior to me in society, and I don't want to bother you. And it's all this social nonsense. And what it does is the prospect loses respect for the coach because the coach has no professional bearing as a coach.
Mm.
So the more I can practice my professional behavior, being a true professional. In other words, I make my living helping other people and making a difference in their lives and listening to them and helping them find their own resources and their own ability to solve problems and their own best self, their own self-expression.
Mm.
That's what I do for a living. I don't um, just be nice and warm up. That can be part of it to relax you, but that's not the whole thing.
Mm.
And when coaches can move more and more into that professional mindset, they get clients a lot faster.
I love that. Yeah, that respect for your profession and the mindset. Yeah. Well, let's go back to that point you just made then. You said sell the experience and not the concept. Could you unpack that a little bit more? Because that sounds important too.
Okay, so let's say I want you, Joel, as a client, or I'm thinking it'd be nice to have you as a client, and you tell me a few of the things that you're going through in life, and I see some places where I might be able to help you. So what I want to now do is give you the experience of what it's like to be coached by me. I don't want to make promises or just impress you.
Mm.
I want to actually have you experience it. So, for example, you might say, I have a lot of fear around money. And so I say, well, tell me a little bit more about that. Where do you think that comes from? And what kind of thoughts do you have when it comes time to talk about money to a client? What kind of thoughts come up for you? So now I'm actually in a coaching session with you. And I want to work with you as if I'll never talk to you again, ever in life.
Mm.
I want to help you with this. And this is the last chance we have. So I'm not going to hold back. I'm not going to be delicate. And sometimes I might say, would you mind if I talk to you as if you were a client right now instead of just somebody I'm just meeting. And usually people say, "Oh yeah, yeah," and so I say, "Well, you're seeing this from a kind of adolescent perspective, if you can see that." And so now we're really getting to the bottom of things because I want you to have an experience of what it is to be with me and be coached by me. I don't want you to have to invest in your coaching with me on faith. Like, okay, I hope it works out. I don't know if it'll work out. This is a lot of money. I'm hoping. My wife is dubious about it. She's not really behind me here. Now, what I want is for your wife or your partner to say, "Wow, you've changed. What happened?" "Well, I talked to this guy." "Wow, we'll talk to him again." "Well, it costs some money." "I don't care. I want you this way." So we call it in our coaching school, moving the needle. I want something I want you to see life differently after talking to me and actually be living life differently.
Yeah.
And so that doesn't usually happen with a typical sales conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that, and then the coaching sells itself. They want that experience again. It's
Exactly.
they've had the emotional connection to it. It's transformed them in some way. They've got the insight, and they want more of it. It makes sense, and I love what you say about talk to them as if it's the last time you speak to them, because I can feel what that evokes inside of me when you say that. It's like it brings me alive, and it cuts straight to the point. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. And it may be the last time.
Mm.
Many times it is the last time I'll ever talk. But I've had people say, "You talked to me 3 years ago and it changed everything. And now that I'm doing well, I want to hire you." And I don't even remember who it is.
Yeah, yeah. I wanted to ask you about, because we're talking now, you've met that person, you've invited them in, you've had a powerful conversation, and the kinds of ways we can be with that potential client. But how do you do, like, especially new coaches, find those people? Like, what do you suggest to them? How do we find them in the first place?
Well, there are 7 billion of them.
Yeah.
And so it's not so much a mystery. So the how to is a mask. It's a false front for the want to. So it isn't really a how to question. I don't know how to do this. That's what everyone says. I don't know how to do this.
Yeah.
No, you don't want to do it yet. And if they can get really honest with themselves about that, then they can see what's really going on. And then they'll say, "Oh, you're right. I've got a lot of intimidation. I don't have much confidence. Maybe I'll work on a way to connect with people that doesn't scare me." And that's what we work with coaches on, is this is not a how-to issue. If you look at your email, and look at the last 50 people who emailed you, there are clients there. And you can go back and communicate with them and get it starting if you want to. And so let's not have a confusion between the how to and the want to, because usually what presents as a how to, like "I don't know how to," is really a want to. It's like, "I don't want to yet," or "I'm afraid to right now." It's not like, "I don't know who to talk to. I don't know." And one time I was in a session with my coach, and we were talking about this, and he said, "You know what? It is never how to. It's never a matter of I don't know who to talk to. I don't know." He said, "Because you and I today could get out of this house and go in the neighborhood and knock on doors, and we could tell people we're life coaches. Would you like to experience it?" And by the end of the day, you'd have 4 clients. And he said, "I promise you that's true, and I'll do that with you if you don't believe it." But what's missing is the willingness to connect with people. And if you can see that clearly, there's a revelation, like, "Oh yeah, I get that.
Well,
So now I'm going to start connecting."
Well, that's what I'm feeling as you say this. It's just it's one's a story of limitation and one's a story of possibility and potential,
Right.
which I imagine suddenly changes everything. It's like, well, yeah, there are 7 billion people, so there are potential clients everywhere.
That's exactly right.
Mm, yeah. Well, let me ask you now the second question that I've been asking people. And we may have been talking about the answer to this question already. And the question is, if there was one thing that you would say to coaches, like one piece of wisdom that you would give them that would make them a more powerful, impactful coach, what would you say to them?
Well, what I would say is for this profession, there doctors have medical school, lawyers have law school, accountants have their own accounting programs they have to go through to be certified. Coaching doesn't have anything like that. And so you're on your own as far as learning how to be a really powerful, effective coach. Don't miss that fact. Don't just sit back and think it's kind of like multi-level marketing or it looks easy or I don't need a degree and other people are doing well in it.
Mm,
And I guess I'll just go in and see what I can do. It really use the fact that there is no prescribed way you have to learn how to be good at this. Use that to find your own way. So make sure you take care of that element, that you become really masterful at coaching and you're not just kind of half baked or, I have people say, oh, people always come to me for advice. So I decided I would be a coach. And
mm,
now I don't know what I'm doing. Well, no, you don't. And so if you can get a coach, get a coach. Have people help you succeed at this and find your own way. Go to seminars. And some people say, I can't afford a coach. Well, then get a peer coach. Get somebody who will trade coaching, some other new coach. And the two of you coach each other until you can afford a coach.
mm,
But take responsibility for your own education in this field. Don't play victim. Don't play helpless
mm,
or pretend you're confused. You're not confused. Pretend you're clueless. You're not clueless.
mm,
Um, you're not. You are falling back into a I don't know how to victim position. You don't need to.
mm. So then you get on your A game. The more consciousness, the more freedom you have, the more you can be free to bring that with your clients and serve them again. So it's about serving again.
Absolutely. Yeah, it all relates.
Mm.
And the more you have a learning mindset and a growth mindset, the more you can help your clients do that. But if you don't go through it yourself, and if you're just kind of clueless, and then it's very hard to move a client's life and help a client.
Which, I think that's the irony that you have in the coaching industry sometimes is that there are these coaches, and I'm not saying they don't have skills, but then when it comes to building their business, they potentially do get in the victim mode and they're not successful. And that, I mean, that's not what our clients are wanting, is it?
No, no, that doesn't inspire clients.
Mm,
Now, you know that also you don't have to be more successful than your client financially. You just have to be able to help that person.
mm,
So don't be intimidated if you're just starting out and thinking, well, because I'm not making six figures or seven figures, then I have no right to coach this person. That's not true. People want whoever can help them, they want that. And they don't really care much. And one of the things I found out
mm.
was the higher people are in society or business, like if they're a CEO of a company, the more they enjoy it if their coach is a total unknown.
Ah,
They don't want to tell their peers at the golf club that Tony Robbins is their coach because it's like they'll be made fun of, or Oprah is my coach.
yeah.
It's kind of like they'll be made fun of. But if they say, I have a secret weapon, I have a person who helps me. You don't even know who he is. He doesn't even have a website. Now that is cool. That is status. So don't worry about coaching people above where you are in the earning thing.
Mm.
But on the other hand, also keep being more and more successful at what you do, because it helps your spirit, it helps your confidence, and it inspires your clients.
I just love hearing that, and I think one of the things I'm getting from you right now, which I always get reading your work as well, is just inspiration and living into that possibility and potential. So the last thing I want to ask you is, well, the second to last thing is maybe you could just share like your favorite way that you grow yourself at the moment. Like, is there a particular way you kind of stay in this A game as a coach and keep growing yourself?
Well, I love searching around and finding people who inspire me, and then going to one of their workshops or watching their videos or reading their books. That really keeps me growing and inspired, and I love that. I'm always looking um, for example, I went to Byron Katie's 9-day school,
Yeah.
and that really helped me as a coach. I've done landmark classes. I have other coaches, and my own coach is so powerful and so spiritual that I learn from him when I get a session.
Mm.
So the way I keep myself inspired and growing, expanding in what I can do, is to be a student at all times.
Yeah.
I want to be a student more than a teacher of this stuff.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. Love it. Love it. Well, I said I wanted to keep this session to about 30 minutes, and so I just wondered if we could finish. I've said that you're going to be in the summit. I wonder if you could share like a few things that you're going to be teaching people who attend the summit, participants.
Well, I'm going to share what I went through and all the fears I had and the weaknesses I had. I'm going to share what my clients are up against when they try to build a prosperous practice. I'm going to talk about the enrollment process, what happens when you enroll someone into your business, and why it doesn't have to be the hard part. I'm going to talk about learning to enjoy the process of building a business and how important it is to have that be a source of enjoyment and happiness. Not just, well, it's the hard part, it's the necessary evil, it has to be done. I don't like it. I don't make as much as I should. I see other coaches who aren't as good as I am and they're making more, and I'm not good at that. That is unacceptable, to have that kind of attitude toward enrolling clients. That's not necessary. To have it in the category of the hard part. This is the hard part of the business. So what I'm going to be working on with people who are interacting with me and listening, how do we make that fun? How do we make that enjoyable? How do I look forward to my day of enrolling people and offering them coaching and bringing them in as new clients? How do I have that be the fun part of my job?
Yeah, wonderful. Well, I can't wait. I can't wait. I mean, I've learned from you just now. I feel like it's evoked me into that kind of playfulness and commitment. I love what you said about, it's not about, I don't know how to do this, but it's about, yeah, do you want it or not? And I can feel that flame alive in me. And like I said before we put the video on, I loved reading your session description. It was the one I read where I was actually totally engrossed, and I mean they're all great session descriptions, but it made me laugh out loud. It was informative, so I'm really looking forward to it. I want to thank you for the way you shared yourself today. I feel that service. Yeah.
Well, you're welcome, Joel. Thank you. You guys do a great service to coaches in the world, so I appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
Hi, Joel here again, and I hope you've enjoyed this dialogue. If you've been excited about what we've been talking about and you want to know more, then you can learn directly from Steve and many other powerful master coaches in our upcoming online Coaches Rising Summit. Other faculty members include Michael Neal, Otto Sharma, Katie Hendricks, James Flaherty, Michaela Bohm, Rich Litvin, Marita Friedjon, Rosamund Sander, and many more. And each of them, they're going to teach you the tools and approaches they use to coach others into deep change. The sessions are live and interactive, and it begins on October the 19th. So you can head to www.coachesrisingsummit.com stevesummit.com to find out more and access the other free pre-summit audios there too.